or easier just to download? Oh yeah. Glitch.
During the first century, most people around the Mediterranean Sea lived in densely packed cities, all ruled by the Roman Empire.
Each city was a diverse blend of cultures, ethnicities, and religions.
And because of this, there were all sorts of temples for offering sacrifices to all sorts of gods, and each person had their own portfolio of gods that they gave their allegiance to.
But in every city,
Church routing. Oh, that's why. There we go. Boom. Let me see what Logan has to say. Think you think will come over later today.
During the first century, most people around the Mediterranean Sea lived in densely packed cities. During the first century, most people around the Mediterranean Sea lived in densely packed cities, all ruled by the Roman Empire.
each city was a diverse blend of cultures, ethnicities, and religions.
And because of this, there were all sorts of temples for offering sacrifices to all sorts of gods, and each person had their own portfolio of gods that they gave their allegiance to.
But in every city, you would also find a minority group who wouldn't worship any gods but their own, the Israelites, also known as the Jews. They claimed that their God was the one true creator and king of the world.
Now, all these cities were connected by a network of roads built by the Roman Empire, and so it was easy to move around, to do business, and even spread new ideas.
Now, one person familiar with these roads was the Apostle Paul. He spent the second half of his life traveling from city to city, announcing that Israel's God had appointed a new king over the nations.
This king wasn't like anyone who'd come before.
Right. Most kings rule with aggression or power, but this new king rules with self-sacrifice and love. His name is Jesus, and Paul is his herald, who's inviting all people to live under this king's rule.
The stories of Paul's travels and how people received this message, that's what the third part of Acts is all about. For some time, Paul's home base had been in the city of Antioch. And from there, he and his co-workers went out on 3 road trips, traveling by land and by sea to strategic cities throughout the empire.
In each city, Paul's custom was to go first to the Jewish synagogue where his people gathered. He'd start teaching and showing how the Messianic king promised in the Hebrew scriptures is Jesus of Nazareth.
And some believed this news, others didn't, and still others thought this message was so misleading and dangerous, they would incite riots to kick Paul out of town.
And so that's when Paul would take to the bustling city marketplace. He would set up shop there to make and sell leather tents to cover his travel expenses. And here, Paul kept sharing the news about the risen King Jesus with anybody who would listen.
He was often misunderstood as just promoting a new god. One time he prayed for a sick person, they were healed, and everyone around thought he must be a Greek god that came down to visit them.
But Paul insisted there's only one true God, and he was his servant. This message often stirred up opposition and more riots, and he got beaten, even thrown in jail.
Why such a strong reaction?
Well, the worship of the gods held together Roman culture. They believed the gods kept their cities safe, and the temple worship of the gods was a huge part of their economy. Paul wasn't just adding Jesus as a new god to the list, he was saying all other gods are powerless, even a sham.
So he's undermining their way of life.
Yes, and more than that. When Paul announced Jesus as a new king, he would call him Lord or Son of God, the very titles people used to refer to the Emperor of Rome.
So Paul's message could easily be heard as a threat against the entire political order. Why would anyone join this movement? I mean, it sounds dangerous.
Well, people were captivated by the story of Jesus and how his love created communities where all people were treated as equals, regardless of ethnicity, gender, or economic status. These people formed new families that would eat together. They lived sacrificially and took care of their poor.
They lived like Jesus actually was the king.
Right. And so in every city where Paul announced the message about Jesus, people were being transformed by God's Spirit to become new kinds of humans.
So Paul would stay in that city and teach them the way of Jesus.
And then he would leave for a new city.
This was a difficult life. Paul had to endure a lot of pain and a lot of suffering.
Yeah, and he did so because he believed that his own hardships were a reenactment of Jesus' suffering and death for others. He said it was God's own love that drove him to share the story of Jesus, no matter the cost.
After his third road trip, Paul's reputation had grown. He had made many new friends, but had also made many new enemies that he would be wise to avoid.
But Paul didn't avoid them. His next stop was Jerusalem, a city full of people who wanted him arrested, even dead. And so why he goes to Jerusalem and what happens when he gets there, that's what the final section of Acts is all about.
Such a powerful video. All right, what do you like? So, in the ancient world, the gods were the thing you worshipped, expecting, the god of money, the god of manna, the god of sex, the god of power, and even Caesar was starting to, was becoming, it's called the imperial cult, where Caesar was seen as a god in the family of gods, like the incarnations of gods. So here comes King Jesus and the continuation story of the people of Israel, where this one God demands total allegiance. And all the others are like leaders are given power, but they're never giving godhood. Like the Roman, yeah. And so they've seen it as a threat. You need to stomp out. Which makes that's what makes the movement of King Jesus in an environment of such rampant hostility, it still exploded. People saw just the love and generous God of the Bible embodied in Jesus as the only God worthy of absolute all allegiances. All right, you ready for James? Mm-hmm. All right, we are in, so 4 more to go. Say with this model though, we're gonna do some we're gonna be going through lots of good Bible reading. James chapter 4, verse 1 to 10. Humility and faith. Where do wars come from? Why do people among you fight? Oh, I need to pray. King Jesus, you're amazing. Thank you for this new day. Thank you for you, the amazing blessing where you did not rule through, you ruled through giving your blood as bloodshed. You did not rule by making bloodshed. It's crazy how such power there is in a self-giving love, where it's so strong and so challenging that either it brings people as enemies of the good, beautiful news or as faithful adherents. So may we faithfully adhere you and your rule. And as we read the book of James and on, the people who, the very first Jewish Gentile followers, the people who first declared allegiance to you and saw how that worked in their crazy, polytheist, the Jews and their adherence to you and not seeing you, Jesus. The ancient Jews, the ones who are against you, will say that you are a false god. No, there's no point of worshiping a man. but we declare that you are the God, 100% God, 100% man. And in your death and resurrection deserves all worship. And so we declare that in one Frost's name, amen. Where do wars come from? Why do people among you fight? It all comes from within, doesn't it? From your desires for pleasure, which make war in your members. You want something and you haven't gotten it, so you murder someone. You long to possess something, but you can't get it, so you fight and wage war. The reason you don't have it because you don't ask for it. And when you do ask for it, you don't get it because you ask wrongly, intending to spend it on your pleasures. Adulterers, don't you know that to be friends with the world means being enemies with God? So anyone who wants to be friends with the world is setting themselves up as God's enemies. Or do you suppose that when the Bible says he yearns jealously over the Spirit he has made to dwell in us, it doesn't mean what it says? So, by our desires, my friend, so like, let's take a lot of desires that happened in the last couple of days, right? Like where it produced just unhealthy behavior, right? So actually the Spirit in us grieves in that. Like when Jesus, his death and resurrection, he sent us the helper, right? The Holy Spirit. The moment that we rage, that we're waging over these desires that we want, it actually makes the Spirit grieve. Because the Spirit, it longs for us to partner with it and being part of the holy, uplifting movement. But God gives more grace. But yet, even when we grieve it, how does Yahweh usually answer in the Bible? More grace and mercy, right? But God gives more grace. So it says, God opposes the proud, but gives grace to the humble. Submit to God then. Resist the devil, and he'll run away from you. Draw near to God, and he'll draw near to you. Make your hands clean, you sinners, and make your hearts pure, you double-minded lot. Make yourselves wretched, mourn and weep. Let your laughter turn to mourning and your joy to sorrow. Humble yourself before the Lord, and he will exalt you. And that's where that whole part of repentance comes in, is he lavishes the mercy and grace so that we keep on looking to him as the hope that he is. And we repent. We go, hey, I've compromised. I need you. School children of a certain age form exclusive friendships. Great human dramas are played out on a small scale when your daughter comes home in tears because her best friend has declared she isn't her best friend anymore, but has taken up with someone else. It seems for a moment like the end of the world. Such crises are often short-lived, not least because children grow out of that phase of life and learn to make friends more widely and on a variety of levels. But in other respects, exclusively is the very essence of a relationship. The obvious example is marriage. Various societies have experimented with polygamy, and even polyamory. Make sure I'm saying that word right. Am I saying that as polygamy? But polyamory? Is it polyamory or polyamory? Gosh, how do you? Here
Polyamory.
we go. Polyamory. Okay. You know what? Polyamory. Polyamory. I want to actually, for times like this where it thinks I'm searching up a whole bunch of other stuff. Add. Boom. You're on the favorites now. Oh,
Polyamory.
Polyamory. Okay. Polyamory. I'm sorry. Various sides experience polygamy and polyamory, but something deep in the human psyche seeks to bond with one person above all others. The temptation to stray is, of course, notorious and sometimes powerful, but it usually leads, if anywhere, not to multiple simultaneous relationships, or if it does, the people concerned find themselves torn apart inside, but to a new exclusive bond. In the Bible, the exclusive partnership of marriage is often used as an image of the exclusive claim of God on human life. And so it is here. James uses the accusation adulterers, not to accuse his readers of actual adultery, but to warn them that being friends with the world means being enemies with God. It's such an important principle that he repeats it, almost word for word. But what does he mean by the word? What does he mean by the world here? And how does friendship with the world in that sense relate to what he's been saying about war, fighting, and asking for things in the wrong way? By the world, he seems to mean, as often in Scripture, the way the world behaves, the pattern of life, the underlying implicit story, the things people want, expect, long for, and dream of that drive them to think and behave the way they do. If you go with the drift, if you don't reflect on what you're doing, but just pick up habits of mind and body from all around you, the chances are you will become friends with the world in this sense. You'll be normal. It takes guts to stand out and be different. It also takes thought, decision, and determination. So why is friendship with the world at the root of war and fighting? Because in the world, in this sense, the ultimate argument is a fist, or a boot, or a gun, or a bomb. Violence, force, power. That's what counts. People may smile and appear friendly and civilized. Society may appear open and generous. But if you go against them, if you challenge cherished assumptions, there are ways of making you feel their displeasure. Only today, a friend told me that after he had witnessed a robbery taking place and was called to give evidence, he had a brick thrown through his window. Violence and the threat of more of it is the way the world ultimately works, whether it's with small-town criminals or large-scale dictatorships. And even bringing this into context. So from what we see from evidence, with Ukraine's defense, they get a lot of arms and a lot of intelligence support from us. But with President Trump trying to make a deal, he withdrawed it until they said, "Hey, we're going to sign our agreement." It's even today. We think society has moved on, but in the end, society will use forceful coercion to bend the knee. And that's, again, what makes King Jesus so crazy and different. He doesn't operate in the world. So sometimes there are people who try to use forceful coercion to make people cling to Jesus, but that doesn't, it goes against his his character. So what does it mean to be a friend of God instead? It will mean, for a start, taming the desires that are agitating inside you for things you can't get. The desire that push you to fight and even to kill or to make war. The desire that lead you to pray for something. But to pray simply for your own pleasures, to be satisfied rather than for God's glory. And yet, James says, you claim to be God's people. This is spiritual idolatry. Married to God but having a long-running affair with the world. God longs for exclusive friendship with all those who are made in his image. In particular, James highlights a major lack in the world of his day, humility. Its opposite is arrogance. The arrogance that says that my desires come first. That my cause is so important it's worth fighting and killing for. The cure, of course, is to submit to God and resist the devil, rather than the other way around. This may well mean a time of serious self-examination. Where are all these impulses coming from? These desires are pulling me away from the God who truly longs to be my friend. Verses 8 through 10, draw near to God, cleansing hands and hearts, mourning and humility. Sound to me like an agenda for at least 5 months of spiritual direction, or perhaps for extended silent retreat. The world will do its best to encourage you to play at doing these things. 5 minutes of drawing near to God, and then quickly back to 2 hours of television. A brief cleansing of the hands, and then back to the mud and the muck. A short, painful glance at the depths of the heart, and then we'll decide that had better wait for another occasion. After all, we don't want to be gloomy, do we? Doesn't God want us to be joyful? Well, yes, he does. But the road to joy is not the same as the road of self-satisfied happiness. Being double-minded, a quick nod to God to keep him happy, and then linking arms with the world once more simply won't do. It may take time and effort to look God in the face and admit just how far we've been going wrong. At the heart of this challenge, there lies a double promise so stupendous that I suspect most of us never really take it seriously. To begin with, resist the devil and he'll run away from you. The devil is a coward. When he is resisted with the prayer that claims the victory of Jesus on the cross, he knows he is beaten. His tricks is to whisper that we know we can't resist. He's got us before and he'll get us again. So why not just give in straight away and save all that bother? It's a lie. Resist him and he'll run. Second, though, draw near to God and he'll draw near to you. That is astonishing. God is ready and waiting. He longs to establish a friendship with you, a friendship deeper, stronger, more satisfying than you could ever imagine. This too will take time, as any friendship worthy of the name will do. But what could be more worthwhile? If even a few more people were prepared to take these promises seriously, think what a difference it will make to the world, never mind the church. Living by trusting God. James chapter 4, 11, 17. Do not speak evil against one another, my dear family. Anyone who speaks evil against another family member or passes judgment against them speaks evil against the law and judges the law. But if you judge the law, you are not a doer of the law, but a judge. There is one lawgiver one judge who can rescue or destroy. But who are you to judge your neighbor? Now look here, you people who say, today or tomorrow we will go to such and such a town and spend a year there and trade and make some money. You have no idea what the next day will bring. What is your life? You are a mist which appears for a little while and then disappears again. Instead, you ought to say, if the Lord wills, we shall live and we shall do this or that. But as it is, you boast in your pride. All such boasting is evil. So then, if anyone knows the right thing to do, but doesn't do it, it becomes sin for them. So, again, this is just a continual thought from here, is we operate as everything drawing near to King Jesus and letting King Jesus be the Lord. And so we got to work out of submitting to him and letting him bring judgment, and not to speak evil. It's even against leaders we don't speak evil. We actually submit to God, Jesus, because he's also even the one who will bring judgment on the time when it's time to bring judgment. And sometimes, with us being the hand, through thoughtful prayer, sometimes we are the hands, but everything has to be done within just humble submission to King Jesus. One of the most memorable minor characters in C.S. Lewis' famous Narnia stories is the strange and increasingly sinister Uncle Andrew in The Magician's Nephew. This is actually, he is a really fascinating dude. Uncle Andrew is, in fact, the magician of the title. His nephew, Diggory, is the male hero of the story. To begin with, Uncle Andrew appears merely a bit odd. He is quirky, idiosyncratic. I'm surprised I said that right. Idiosyncratic. Unpredictable, but no more than that. But gradually it becomes clear that he has planned a sinister plot to get Diggory and his neighbor Polly, not sister, to get Diggory and his neighbor Polly to try out what he believes to be magic rings. He is, it appears, too scared to try them for himself. Well, they do try them out, and that sets the whole adventure in motion. But the truly sinister moment in the story, as Lewis must have intended, comes towards the end, when Uncle Andrew explained that while it might have been wrong for someone else to do what he had done, he lived in a world where a different set of rules applied. And here's the quote. You ready? Men like me, who possess hidden wisdom, he says, are freed from common rules, just as we are cut off from common pleasures. Ours, my boy, is a high and lonely destiny. Lewis, as so often, had his finger on a key moral point. The moment when someone says to themselves, never mind anyone else, that an action which would be wrong for ordinary mortals is all right for them because they are somehow set apart and different, that person has puffed themselves up with a gross form of pride and is heading for disaster as a result. James uses more or less exactly this argument in issuing another warning against speaking evil of a fellow Christian. He seems to have in mind the kind of slander or gossip which eats its way like a cancer in a Christian fellowship. It requires urgent treatment if it is not to prove fatal. His point is this: anyone who does such a thing is thereby implying, like Uncle Andrew, that the ordinary law, which applies to Christians, that they should love their neighbor as they love themselves, does not apply to them. They're above it. They can look down on such petty standards from a great height. They are, says James, judging the law instead of trying to do what the law says. But to take such a stand is not just foolish and arrogant, it is to usurp the very role of God himself. There is only one lawgiver, only one judge, and he can either rescue or destroy. So anytime, with the loving your neighbor as yourself, anytime we feel like we're above that for some puffed up candy, is the moment that we just set everything, just the moment a little compromise is okay, that will just eat away a community. I can think of so many communities I knew in high school that when it was okay to practice compromise after compromise in that community, and that's Christian and people don't cling to Jesus. I don't see too many people still friends. Because when it comes loving your neighbor yourself, you have to set your mind and heart to it. If you don't set your mind and heart to it and let the natural compromise course happen, communities don't usually stay communities. That last line may be a way of saying that only God is in the position. And now I have one more thing. I have also seen, and I'm actually, someone who's experienced trauma. I have sometimes fallen victim to this. That because I experienced a lot of trauma as a childhood, it's okay for me to act this way. The reality is I experienced a lot of trauma, but then now I've also experienced a great generous love of God. So now any impulses I have of compromise, I give them to King Jesus, and I try to put those impulses to death. And it's the same thing. We all there's something that usually there's some sort of compromise that we feel like we can keep on living because of X, Y, and Z, but actually that there alone as a Christian sets us up for usually disastrous self-end relationship. That last line may be a way of saying that only God is in a position to pass the kind of judgment that a Christian is making when he or she speaks evil of another Christian. But it may also be a warning. The lawgiver and judge can indeed rescue and destroy. And if you have set yourself above his holy and royal law of freedom, you may find that you yourselves are judged by that law. Still, the two halves of this passage are both. Therefore, warning against the temptation to put yourself in the place of God. Verses 13 to 16 highlight this danger in relation to one's future plans. Here is a Christian who is running a small business, all right. He thinks to himself and perhaps says to a friend, we shall go off to a different town and ply our trade there and make some money. He, or indeed she, there were independent businesswomen in the ancient world, as we know from Acts and elsewhere. Thinks that the future can be planned like that, all laid out. Perhaps there is even a suggestion that, since we are now the people of the Messiah, our plans can be made more securely because God is on our side. And that's always a scary... And that's the part, it's the moment you plan that you think everything's going to go your way because you cling to King Jesus. And actually, during war, people used to say that all the time for God and country. Somehow, saying God and country is a special chance that will make your side win. actually World War One is notorious for this, that you have the German priest saying for God and country. Now on the other side, you have the British priest saying for God and country. We actually have a lot of exhaustion from religion, even after World War One. Actually, from a lot of religious wars. It's not just World War One. I think there's like there's like the 100-Year War, they called it. Like in ancient time, I think it was like a little bit after the Reformation, there was, or maybe before, I'm trying to remember, it was like the 100-Year War. Yeah. And it's like, and this is the moment that without like studying the story of Jesus, using it as a chance to, yeah, that's when you get a lot of the ugliness. Yeah, just a lot of ugliness. And sadly, and that is also like those moments of compromise, those get really aired on, like those are what get telecast, like the world knows. And so they'll see Christianity, they'll see the movement of Jesus as those big groups of compromise. And so it's just this, yeah, it creates thorns. Whatever the case on that point, James again has stern words in store. Don't you realize, it says, what your life is like? Think of the mist you see out of the window on an autumn morning. It hangs there in the valley above all the little stream. It is beautiful, evocative, mysterious. Yes, just like a human being can be. Then the sun comes up a bit further and the mist simply disappears. That's what your life is like. You have no idea what today will bring, let alone tomorrow. The lesson once more is humility, applying what had been said in verse 6 and 10, learn to take each day as a gift from God. That's a really, and to do such playing as is necessary in the light of that. This indeed has been built into Christian understanding to this day, so that many people will say, God willing, or if the Lord wills, to make it clear that in their proposal for the future, they are taking care not to usurp God's sovereignty. Sometimes this is even shortened to the Latin abbreviation DV, standing for Dio Valente? Let's look it up. Let's look up this Latin. Oh, I see. Fine, I'll type it. Dio Valente. That's my guess of how you pronounce it.
Deo Valenti.
Oh, Dio Valente.
Deo Valenti.
Deo Valente.
Deo Valenti.
Deo Valenti.
Deo Valenti.
Deo Valenti. Okay. Deo Valenti. God willing. That too, of course, can just become a slogan which people say without thinking, and perhaps without really meaning it. But at least it serves as a sign that this particular lesson of James, unlike some others, sadly, has been taken into the bloodstream of Christian understanding. The chapter ends with a warning which is far more general, and indeed far more warning, than what has gone before. Not to do what you know you should do is actually to sin. Is it enough to avoid the obvious act of sin? Once you learn the humility to accept God's royal law and to live by it, to accept God's sovereign ordering of all life and to live within that, then you will see more clearly the positive things to which you are being called. This may be a major life decision, a question of our whole vocational path of life, or maybe the small spirit-given nudge to do a small act of kindness for a neighbor or stranger. But once you have had that nudge, that call, then to ignore it, to pretend you hadn't heard, is a further act of pride, setting yourself up in the place of God. This closing verse has sometimes produced in sensitive souls a continual anguish of heart searching. Am I being disloyal or disobedient? Can I be sure I've done what I ought to do? The best thing to say about that is that if you're worried on that score, and frankly, I wish a few more Christians will search their hearts in that way, then the chances are you are doing fine. To worry obsessively about it may in itself be a way of putting yourself in the middle of the picture, focusing all the attention on me and my state of mind and heart, rather than on God and on your neighbor. Of course, some people do suffer from pathological or paranoid heart searching, and that requires more careful pastoral help. But for most of us, there's nothing like helping someone else in their troubles for putting our own internal worries into perspective. Warning to the rich. James chapter 5, 1 through 6. Now look here, you rich. We've read 2. That'll be 3 then, the Clean Bible Project. No, we got 3 plus, it's 3 plus 2, so you have 2 more to read. Now look here, you rich. Reap and wail for the horrible things that are going to happen to you. Your riches have rotted. And here he is back on riches. And again, in the ancient world, and a lot of times today, to get rich usually comes at the cost and the continual cost of someone else. Now look here, you're rich. Reap and wail for the horrible things that are going to happen to you. Your riches have rotted, and your clothes have become moth-eaten. Your gold and your silver have rusted, and their rust will bear witness against you and will eat up your flesh like fire. You have stored up riches in the last days. Look, you cheated the workers who mowed, and there's the usually riches come at the cost of someone else. Look, you cheated the workers who mowed your fields by keeping back their wages. They didn't have the lottery back in the day. I guess the only lottery that was back in the day is if you're born into money. It's very rare that in the ancient world, the people make their money. So look, you cheated the workers who mowed your fields by keeping back their wages. And those wages are crying out. Oh, and here we have crying out. What else cries out? The ground, yep. The suffering. The cries of the farm workers have reached the ears of the Lord of hosts. You have lived off the fat of the land in the lap of luxury. You have fattened your hearts on the day of slaughter. You have condemned the righteous one and killed him, and he doesn't resist you. So you also got to remember that a lot of these people are probably connected to the temple, these rich ones. And around 70 AD, what happens to the temple? It gets boomed by the Romans. So the Day of the Lord, I usually read Day of the Lord as actually like moments in actual time. There is the ultimate Day of the Lord when judgment will like, and we're all set. We all like look at King Jesus, and we are judged. And by us who declare allegiance to King Jesus, we're already declared right for that moment. But there's also many Day of the Lords. And so for the many Day of the Lord, a lot of these rich people are going to lose their living. Suddenly we find ourselves in quite different worlds. And we realize that James has been thinking this way all along. Reading through the book casually to this point, we might suppose it was a rag-bag collection of different moral commands. A general guide to life. What to do and what not to do. Now we discover that there are 2 other elements, 2 further dimensions to all this. We might want to go back and reread the letter to this point in the light of them. 2 first of these 2 worlds opened in front of us a great dark pit when we got to verse 6. The final condemnation of the rich is not that they are oppressive, living in luxury and denying the workers their wages. The worst thing they have done is that they have condemned the righteous one and killed him. They are responsible for the death of Jesus. Suddenly, we realize who the rich really are, and almost certainly where and when James is writing this letter. The rich are the Jerusalem elite, the Sadducees and the chief priest. who live in their fine houses and grow fat on the proceeds of pilgrimage and sacrifices brought by faithful Jews, by whose attitude to God and his law is purely pragmatic, doing what's required in the temple, running liturgy and the festivals the way the people expect, is simply their way of staying in power. Their job is to keep the peace for the Romans by force if necessary, and that means by keeping a tight hold of what happens in Judea, and in particular in Jerusalem and the temple itself. So when Jesus arrived in Jerusalem and famously cleansed the temple, most likely as a prophetic act which, like those of Jeremiah or Ezekiel, was meant to symbolize the temple's imminent downfall, he was treading right on their toes. They acted the way rich elites always react to such provocation. He must be eliminated. But you can't eliminate Jesus, as countless tyrants have discovered down the years. God raised him from the dead, and that meant that not only his first followers, but family members like James himself, who had not to that point believed that he was the Messiah, realized that he was the righteous one. God had declared him to be in the right by his resurrection, and hence in the right all along. And remember, that's what righteousness means, right? To be declared in the right, to have right relationship. So when they arrested him for, they gave him a false charge. But he was declared in the right when he was resurrected, and so hence was in the right. And it was the rich who had killed him. Like Jesus himself, James points the finger at the economic oppression which had become rife throughout Judean society, for which the official rulers bore most responsibility. They set the tone, and others, tax collectors and the rest, followed suit. Jesus had shown a different way. He had announced the Jubilee, the great release from debt, for which God's people had longed. As we know in our own day, anyone who suggests forgiving poor people their debts will be laughed at by the rich. However, when the great credit crisis of 2008 struck the Western world, the rich themselves lined up to have their debts forgiven at the cost of the taxpayers, and several governments meekly did what they were asked. One law for the rich, another for the poor. It was ever thus. Which is very true. So, in 2008, it became this. So it became this practice, is like where look at my living. I don't have a lot. Okay, right? So before up to 2008, there became this thing where in practice I can go get a house loan for $2 million, and I'm just using big numbers. And there's no way I could pay $2 million, right? Yeah. But they'll still give me the house loan. Actually, it will just be an interest payment loan, or it's literally interest payment loan. And so what happened is, though, like a lot of these, like what happening is this pretty much like a group will have to pay off, like all of a sudden accountability will happen. And then it became this domino effect where then like people got those houses that those people had and were living in, they had to get kicked out. And so a lot of these groups who cause these issues, they actually, like the government send them, like pretty much they had a golden parachute, is what they call, like what was called then. Is a lot of these big time rich people actually were giving pretty much millions of dollars of break from the government. But then usually the poor people is what they had to suffer from what happened. And so yeah, like, oh, that's a really sad time. That's actually during a time where I graduated from high school and I was looking for a job, and like almost nowhere was hiring because there's like not that much money in the town I grew up in. It was really hard to find a job. In particular, the rich have committed the most basic social sin of holding back the wages of day laborers. No doubt they realized that they might be able to make a little interest on the money if they hung on it for a day or two. And no doubt their mansions were well protected against the shouts of the workers who had families to feed and nothing to feed them on. All right, James declares, the wages themselves, which you have kept back, are shouting out, and God is listening. And now we come to a second fresh perspective on the whole letter. Here unveiled in verse 3, you have stored up riches, warns James, in the last days. This too is based on what James believed about Jesus. With Jesus, God's new world had begun. He had launched God's kingdom on earth as in heaven. This is the age to come for which Israel had longed and prayed. These are, in that sense, the last days, the great new time in which everything will be set right at last. And in this new age, one of the most inappropriate things you can do was to store up riches. God is turning everything upside down, exalting the poor and humble, and bringing the powerful and rich crashing down. And yet you're trying to make yourself richer. You're riding, says James, for an even bigger fall than you might have imagined. James looks with the eye of the prophets, and he sees the fine houses filled with silver, gold, and lovely clothes, with larders full of food and cellars full of wine. And he sees them as God sees them, full of rust and moth. Another echo of Jesus, compared Matthew 6. And with all that food, simply fattening them up, like turkeys before Christmas, for the day of slaughter. This is one of the sharpest warnings against careless luxury anywhere in the Bible. It resonates, of course, with many parts of today's world. We may be weary of saying it and hearing it. You know, what's interesting is, you know how I said, like, they're preparing for, like, being destroyed of when the temple gets destroyed and literally Jerusalem gets burned and ransacked? There's also just the upside down nature of the kingdom, when that's a larger world where the poor get lifted up, but especially the news of King Jesus, and the rich, the prideful get humbled. It resonates, of course, with many parts of today's world. We may be weary of saying it and hearing it, but the way the global economy is set up is designed to produce more or less the same effect as the ancient Judean economy, with most of the money flowing steadily in one direction. This is reproduced again and again more locally as small groups of powerful people make sure they possess not just enough, but more than enough, and then more again, while others starve and beg within sight of them. No doubt, like the Jerusalem elite, the rich will then pour scorn on the poor. They deserve it. They're lazy. They don't know what life is all about. But the church must keep James chapter 5, verse 1 through 6 at its elbow, and must continue to speak out against the wickedness, not only individual, but also systematic, that concludes with such a situation. It was behavior like that which hardened the hearts of the leaders and made the killing of Jesus seem not only right, but easy and natural. It is behavior that which will be shown up for what it is as the day dawns and God's new age is complete, filling the hungry with good things and sending the rich away empty. All right, this is our last section. Patience and trust. So be patient, my brothers and sisters, for the appearing of the Lord. You know how the farmer waits for the valuable crop to come up from the ground. He is patient over it, waiting for it to receive the early rain and then the late rain. In the same way, you must be patient and make your heart strong, because the appearing of the Lord is near at hand. Don't grumble against one another, my brothers and sisters, so that you may not be judged. Look, the judge is staying at the gates. Consider the prophets, my brothers and sisters, who spoke in the name of the Lord. Take them as an example of long-suffering and patience. When people endure, we call them blessed by God. Well, you have heard of the endurance of Job, and you saw the Lord's ultimate purpose. The Lord is deeply compassionate and kindly. Above all, my brothers and sisters, do not swear. Don't swear by heaven. Don't swear by earth. Don't use any other oaths. Let your yes be yes and your no be no. That way you will not fall under judgment. So, and this is the hard part, is like it says, consider blessing when you endure suffering. You know, especially when we look back in history, when we see people who do righteous things, but they receive lots of suffering through it. And actually like the prophets of old, like we consider them blessed by God. we are parts. When we look at King Jesus, we lay all our desires at his feet, and when suffering comes, we endure it by also clinging to Jesus. We are part of that movement. When my sister and I were reckoned, and here's the last part. Above all, do not swear. If I do swear by King Jesus or by Yahweh, there can be, I do put myself under the oath. So it's just better just not to swear, not to use oaths. When my sister and I were reckoned to be old enough not to need a babysitter anymore, my parents occasionally went out for the evening, leaving us on our own. Normally this worked fine. We could see to ourselves, the front door was locked, and in any case, the world seemed a safer place in those days. But one evening, for some reason, I began to worry. I have no idea why, but instead of going to sleep as usual, I stayed awake and fretted. Surely they'll come soon. I guessed their likely time of return. It came and went, and still no sign of them. I could hear cars on the main road, and I listened eagerly for one to turn up our street. Occasionally one did, but then it drove on by. After a while, all sorts of thoughts crept over me, supposing something had happened to them. What if there had been an accident? Perhaps they wouldn't come. Not that night, not ever. I think my sister must have been asleep by then, because she would have told me not to be silly. I ended up sitting by the window, cold with fear, hardly able to believe it, when eventually the car turned up our road, stopped, and there were my parents safe and sound after a good evening, and puzzled that I would have been anxious. I suspect that when Jesus finally appears, many of us will have the same sense as I did then. How could we have been so foolish as to doubt it? How could we think that just because it was later than we had wanted and hoped, it might mean we would never come at all? Every generation of Christians has prayed that he would come as he promised. And so far, every generation has had to learn the lesson of patience. Indeed, the command to be patient, and the fact that patience is one of the key aspects of the Spirit's work in our lives, might in itself tell us that such a precious gift is going to be needed. We shouldn't be surprised at the delay. The Jewish people, after all, had lived with exactly that problem through the long centuries when they had wanted their Messiah to come and sort everything out. And some of them had begun to believe that the promises hadn't, after all, met what they said. Once again, it's a matter of humility. One of James' primary lessons, as we are realizing, don't imagine that our time scale corresponds to God's time scale. Think of it like a farmer. Some weeks ago, I watched a local farmer plowing his fields and sowing his crop. I can see the field as I write this. Nothing seems to have changed, except for the fact that the seagulls that followed the plow are no longer there. The soil looks just as bare as it did when he went to work. So, was he wasting his time? Has the crop failed? Of course not. It just takes time. More time than we might like. Farmers learn to live with the rhythm of the seasons. Our frantic modern society, which wants to have every vegetable in the shops all year round and so bring them in by plane from far away, has done its best to obliterate. Has done its best to obliterate the need for patience. It's all the more important that we who follow Jesus should learn it and practice it. The way to do this is, as usual in James, to focus our attention on God himself. The Lord, he says, is deeply compassionate and kindly. How hard it is to believe that, but how vital. How easy it is, by contrast, to think of God as remote, uncaring, unfeeling, or if he feels anything, perhaps we think he's annoyed or cross with us about this or that. Well, there may be things to sort out, but as James already said, God's mercy is sovereign. That is the deepest truth about him. That was the truth glimpsed by the great prophets of old. Through long acquaintance with God himself, they had learned to see the truth behind the way things seemed, to see the heavenly dimension of ordinary earthly reality, to see the heavenly timescale intersecting with the earthly one. Job is a supreme example. Job is a supreme example. But there are many others who, as the letter to the Hebrews insists, went on faithfully even though they had not themselves received the things which had been promised. A hasty, impatient spirit is another form of pride, of the human arrogance that imagines it knows better than God. And once more, this patience and trust must issue in appropriate speech. Again, there is a warning about grumbling against one another. Clearly, this was quite a problem in James' church. Sad though this is, we shouldn't be surprised. The early Christian Jerusalem and the surrounding area had suffered persecution ever since the death of Stephen. When groups and fellowships find themselves under threat from the outside, the fear and anxiety can easily breed quarrels and grumbles on the inside as well. Patience with one another is a further aspect of humility. The repeated warnings about the coming judgment have now developed from the general truth stated in the early chapters into a more specific warning about the coming day of the Lord. The judge is standing at the gates. It is possible James insists again to incur that judgment by the wrong kind of speech. How easy it is to add a few words to a statement, as though to strengthen it. To add an oath would mean, if taken literally, that we are invoking some supernatural power in support of what we were saying. I swear by God, and so forth. This remains a solemn matter in a court of law, and the crime of perjury is still regarded as extremely serious, even in a secular world where most people don't actually believe in the God by whom officially they were swearing. But James, once more, following the teaching of his older brother, insists that saying yes and no is quite enough. Anything more risk involving not divine support, but divine judgment. This has, of course, been controversial because many countries still use an oath in a court of law as a way of guaranteeing truthful testimony. Many Christians believe that is a special case in which the normal rule, as here, doesn't apply. But that controversy shouldn't blind us to the very interesting point that lies behind the teaching of both James and Jesus here. Following Jesus is supposed by the path to a genuine human existence. And genuine human life should issue in clear, straight, honest speaking. To add oaths or other similar embellishments to what we are saying has the effect of debasing the coinage. It makes it look as though a plain statement isn't enough. The one time we are told in the Bible that someone began to curse and swear was when Peter was insisting that he didn't know Jesus. That should give us pause for thought. All right, friend, we can start. I'm going to go use the restroom, and then I see you're here, Justin. I'll be right back, and we can poet. Microphones went asleep. Let me. Once I put on Path of Exile, this time we'll pop them. All right. Dun, 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 dun. Bum, 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 bum. All right, I'm Ian.
Cool.
Oh.
I thought you were a fool for seeking.
Okay. Path of building. There we go. There we go.
Go, go, go.
Power Rangers. All right. Oh. Okay, Venom. Here is now my main damage.
Goodbye.
Okay.
Hmm.
Hmm? You say?
You'll say.
Okay, what are
don't
you?
know.
Fires a return predator that can be caught. Fire outwards when you use Whirling Blade. Oh, so this actually synergizes with Whirling Blade. Interesting. And from the looks of it, I am now done with Cobra Lash.
Yes? Farewell.
Daddy, at this very moment, Daddy's done with Minecraft. At this very moment, Daddy is done with Minecraft. Oh, I gotta be level 15 for that.
Yes?
Oh, I sneeze.
Goodbye.
Have
What little help I can. Goodbye.
Wait, actually.
Oh, I need faster attack. That's right. 1 second. I forgot to. Faster attack.
What little help I can offer.
Faster attack score. Hey. Ah.
Farewell.
All right. Come on. Go.
Just need a moment to catch my breath.
Ah.
I have seen the end of life. I am Bruce. Return if you must.
I am Yena, a beast. Go.
You and me.
Come on.
Oh, right. Wrong buttons.
Well.
I got it on 5 minutes.
Nice. Oh, we're just going here.
Oh, this is a broken bridge.
Just need a moment.
That's it.
What are we trying to do here? Because I'm not. Did you kill the
We're
bandits?
doing the bandits.
Bandits, that's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you find the bandits?
Yep.
Did? Oh, okay.
Your left.
Oh, I guess I can't go down that. Alright, I don't know what mine is, so 1 second. Okay. Think under calculations? No. No.
It should be under configuration if it says any.
Alright, bandit quest, kill all. You're
Yeah,
good.
that's pretty standard.
Your trouble.
Excuse me. I'm sneezing to death, I guess. How rude, they keep teleporting everywhere.
That's so fun. Having these around me, and this when I dodge, they spin.
All that flashy sword swinging when all you need is one good stab.
What was
Okay, so now we go back to the crossroads.
Yep.
Just need a moment to catch my breath.
Now we find the other bandit.
Right now we're going to the crypt for the labyrinth.
Oh, for a labyrinth? Okay.
Yeah.
Is it over here? I see a door. I found stairs.
That'll be pretty far off.
There's a devotional shrine. You care for it right here.
Not really, since they reset when we leave the area.
I see.
So
This is one of those we have to like clear the map to really to do it.
yeah. I'm at the next place when you are ready.
We're... Oh, you're already in. Okay. I'm in.
Okay. Zoom, zoom.
I've only learned from the best.
I forgot to save that. Oh, actually, no, wait. I do have a copy. Paste.
Actually, we might as well do these just so that... Oh, come on, get out of the way. So are you playing like totems?
Nope.
Oh, I thought I saw like swirling totems. Oh, those must be the blade traps.
They're indeed blade traps.
Oh,
She
God.
sells them after. She
Yeah.
sells them at this point, but you have to actively buy them. They're not gifted as a quest reward.
I see. Well, we have a moment. I'll go back and get them. Cause that's my single target damage.
And while I level up, same. Trail of Ascendancy is up here.
Okay, come on. Come on. Please stop.
Fear.
Oh, that's silly. Oh. Oh, darn it.
Just need a moment to catch my breath.
Shine boldly, so that all may find you when the night falls.
So now we just bounce since we found the labyrinth.
I
Or did-
think we go to Crypt level 2.
Okay.
I am
Oh,
at level
You're at
2.
it. All right.
Okay, yeah, we do go here. Did you get the hand?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
I have seen warriors. Return
Yeah.
if you must.
Cool.
Greetings. What troubles you? Going? Hello. Return if you must.
Oh, let me go back and quickly buy traps that'll help me on single targets.
Oh, I was never there.
Hello.
Blade. Animate weapons, whirling blades, frost blade, blade vortex, venom, blade trap.
Hello. Goodbye.
The traps. Hmm. Mobility. Faster attack. We got void manipulation for later. Okay, do we have chance of poison? We have them. Oh, do I have chance of poison? Oh, I do. Okay. Okay, so we are now in Act 2.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, so added cold damage. So I imagine I'll get that at Act 2.
Damn me. Stay sharp. out there.
Languid. All right. Okay, I'm here. I'm guessing you're off to the next area.
Yep.
Up to
Once
next
you load it
bandit.
in. Well, not next bandit, but next part to go to, yeah.
I've seen some dark places in my line of work, but this is something else.
Actually, no.
Nope.
There's a level 1, so yeah, level 2.
Okay, so there. Oh man. Move.
Let me know if you're feeling a little.
Just looking at your, trying out your advice.
Trial of Ascendancy is over here.
Just need a moment to catch my breath.
Oh, you already done the trial?
Sorry, what?
Interesting that that locks the door.
It's to make the blades go out of sync with each other.
Ah, I see.
There is a fine line between consideration and hesitation. The former is wisdom, the latter is fear.
That thing!
Nice.
Don't forget to pick up the gem.
Yep, I got the baleful gem. I also need.
Piety was after.
The Oriathinga.
All right, let's look here. Acid Mark, Herald, Thunder, Ash, Ice, Blade, Burst, Arcane, Blood Rage. Okay, for better, for an offhand, Haste. They're not there. Okay, Blood Rage.
Travel far.
Look in your eye. The first ones are watching.
The white beast. You are dream tender. Goodbye.
There you go.
The road?
I gave the ebony lead. Piety led us into that. Go.
I have stood.
Bye. All right, we're next, friend.
Now we head south. Or, well, west. We are south.
I'm a gardener, clearing the weeds so that the crops may grow.
Should we do this errand quest or save errand for another time?
You can save it for another time, because it is also optional, because it's just Einhar stuff.
This is what bandits we're doing here.
Bandits, and also on our way to the Weaver's Chambers. So both here. Actually 3 things, because we also do the Blackguards here. Over here is the Blackguard's seal to open up to Act 1 again. Here's a Lyra.
Just need a moment to catch my breath.
Closer.
I caught some rat.
Did the earth move for you, baby? Probably. You hit the ground quite hard.
The boss nest is over here.
Ah.
Top left.
Oh,
You okay?
yeah. I just have Bailey give backdoor gaming on me right now. No, it's not Bailey.
Does she want a pet spider?
No, she wants me to go crazy. I think it'll be easier. Mm-hmm.
That's a Lyra spider.
I did beat up all the speeders.
Oh yes, it was just you. You did everything.
Bailey, 1 second. It's a good idea to go in the portal, but please stop giving me commands. Okay.
I don't think I need to be doing that.
All right. Skills. It does look cool. Faster casting, melee physical. I can't really go in the water. I may walk on top of some water. And multiple traps. Well, you'll see when I get there, Bailey. I need you to please stop telling me what to do, okay? I don't know if I chance of poison, single. I don't think I'm Herald of Agony. I don't think there is no Herald. Okay.
Herald of Agony is definitely an option,
but not in this
It's a green
first
gem.
initial group. Yeah, I don't need. Do you need?
Huh.
Do you need these skills?
'Cause it was gifted from Groost from me. Like, interesting.
I could. You're right.
Herald, yeah, Herald of Agony is here on the Helena's as a vendor.
Oh, as a vendor, I was
Me
looking.
too.
I was just looking at these rewards. It's a quest reward.
Oh, it was a previous quest reward that you gave it.
Yeah, it told me to take Blood Rage too. Huh? So I'm just gonna have to buy it.
Oh yeah, it was the one before that one that was.
Yeah. Do you
that
need
gave,
these quest rewards?
No, sir.
Piety would have concurred.
Right.
Farewell.
Okay. All right. I need Herald of Agony. Oh, I don't have enough. I don't have enough for an orbital alternation. Actually, this is better. Oh. Ah.
Goodbye. Greetings.
Oh wow. This victory Stingo +1 level of Sakade Chaos Gems.
Ooh, nice.
726. Oh. like I'm
Yes.
he's still junk to get my basic. Oh, no. I have to- Oh, I don't have any gloves. There we go.
Well, that makes it a bit difficult to be doing damage.
Remember to live.
You know, not having damage.
The spirit hunts with
Ara's agony. Wait, that's not how it works. Like, nope. How do you activate buffs again?
Control right click.
Control right click.
I don't think I need to be doing that right now.
Oh, I can't do it in town, I guess. Okay.
Yeah, everything's up and down.
Okay.
Everything.
you are well.
I don't have enough resources for anything. Oh, so I'll just go.
Goodbye.
No, I'll just sell this one.
Yes. Be well.
Roll. Yep. Oh, this up here.
Nope, you went the wrong way. It's on the side we came in from. I get it, I messed up that part a lot. I just got lucky.
The half-wit and the more are dead. Now that's what we get for putting a stick to a knife fight.
What kind of aura do you have?
Herald of Agony.
Corrupts not right. Right now, I just need to be picking up stuff so I can get some.
Well, the good news is I've been making sure not to pick up most things.
I just haven't been picking up things unless it looks like it's viable. I'm like, man, I am just at this place where I just don't even have identification scrolls.
Yeah, that makes it a bit difficult to get.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
Oh,
boots.
nice. That's cute. Have you found the next area at all?
Nope, I just went the wrong way, so it took extra long. Oh wait, it actually might be that direction.
Just need a moment.
Just have to make sure to
Catch my
smack things because I'm running out of mana. Really got lost. Oh, yep, here it is.
Nope.
This shadow is starting to feel a little inadequate.
Oh. So we have to turn in the bandit lures before we can.
You just talk to Air Mirror so that way you get the triangle and then it opens up.
Fare you well. Nothing like this. You are a hunter.
Always keep thinking.
Going?
Oh boy, now I actually have an of-level mana flask
Stay true to
to
you.
use.
What has happened?
There's one bright. Go with courage.
For all of her strength, the end of learning is the beginning of death.
Thank you.
Hello.
Yes.
You recommend I should wear these?
No, they were so that way either you can use them for stats or to sell them. Because I picked them up by accident.
Stat for what? Or just selling?
Yeah, whatever is best. If you need the extra damage.
I just need the
Stuff.
gem slots.
True.
You're not
Agreed.
to live.
Alright, let me see. Sure, I got all the... Actually, I'll worry about the gems after the act. For all I know, they might give me... Right. Right now, like, we're able to take on the evil.
Actually, thinking about it, like I just thought about speaking of the gear. We should do enough King's March stuff so that way you unlock the black market for Pausius.
Okay.
Because that'll be important for just quick, better gear for you since you actually
Okay.
don't have it inflated costs like I do. Darn, my costs are inflated.
That's sweet, you. Oh, nice.
So with that in mind,
No point in looking back now. There's just death and a lot of
I completed a challenge I earned something an attune something.
yep, you should have gotten your first piece of gear because at level 20 of the set that you get for hitting level 80, you get
I
parts
see.
of it
So
as
it's like
level up.
you unlock a set once you hit level 80.
Just need a
Yep,
moment.
you
to
unlock
catch
the
my breath.
last piece of the set. Hey, better life pass than the second one that is still the minor. That's if you need it.
I need to turn down the game a little bit. 'Cause I didn't make out anything you said. What do you say?
Oh, I was saying a better life flask for one of us to use. It looks like you have.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Man, their hot fixes are coming in fast. They must have been having some struggles with something recently. Either that or this one might be a patch update, actually. Stairs.
Oh, I found the next area. Oh, we found the next area.
Nice.
Right, this is like a stationary boss.
At least at first. It takes so long, I wasted.
I must say, it's like, is it coming?
Oh, it definitely came. And he got wrecked immediately after.
It is like dropping rocks all over me.
Yep, it does do that.
Oh.
He got lasered. I got lasered. Just... I didn't get lasered. I was able to heal between mid laser. A minion want to veer into minions. You can take all those and ID them and then tell them.
I took all I could. Oh yeah?
Ah, it's so good to be back.
Okay.
in the city.
Alright, Char. After that game, we have to go through step, okay? Oh.
I don't mean to sound ungrateful, but
Following you actually like
There you get there the faster.
Bring me back something.
that was funny.
How could you?
Goodbye.
need something?
Actually.
Be careful.
Wow.
Oh.
Need some help? Be careful.
Ooh. The damage, but the slots.
If you also have the, do you have the passives where you're getting a lot of attack speed stuff? Also,
What
is
passive?
that where your passives go?
But right now, they're having my passives go into. Oh, wait. I'm supposed to do one-handed attacks right now, I guess, with a sleight of hands. Hmm.
Where? I don't see that.
It says initial points with
Oh, that
Cobra.
one, yeah. But past that, you should have a lot more points than that.
Yeah, well, yeah, past it right now. I'm here. I'll just show you my
Like
tree.
yeah.
It's having me go this route.
Oh, you're going really far out of the way. Are you using the leveling tree?
I am.
Just making sure.
I am.
It was the Pewee Vault one, right?
I got it from Icy Veins.
Yeah, so Pewee Vault. Icy Veins, the classic.
It's
Been there long ago.
Oh. Hmm. You know. Hmm.
Yobi covers most of those in detail. Where is Pewee Yobi? Like,
Yes.
Yeah, that's very smart, Suikyu.
see, I see you're going straight towards the minion stuff.
Yeah.
See you.
That's why.
So, are you a trap build?
That's what it's starting as because it's swapping into more other stuff later on, but early on, it's very much in the same area as the claws and stuff. So.
All right, let me quickly go to make sure I got everything according to the skill tree I should have had by Act 2.
Humanity.
Oh, look at there's some quest turn-ins.
You have made travel far.
I think there's a quest turn also at Act 1.
Remember.
Oh yeah, there should be one at Act 1 for opening up the gate, but that's about it for actual non-dialogue only quest rewards.
Oh.
Because we opened up the
Hey friend,
gate.
I said after that game we gotta go through steps.
Of the Umbra opened a pass in a
Did you forget?
Thought you deserved one of mine.
Daddy doesn't want to. Like, I hear you, but right now, Daddy.
Sure. The Pokemon has tainted, spoiled her. Pokemans.
All right, so.
Yes?
Okay, so we got Venom, Chance, Volley. Oh, added lightning damage. Okay. Oh, looks like there is no. Looks like there is no additional lightning damage.
Yeah, that's a bit later.
Yeah.
And I don't think she sells them either.
That's interesting. Even though it's what I'm gonna get for Act 1. Huh. Okay.
Maybe not then.
You go to Act 2.
I think you get the added damage stuff at like Act 3 tier stuff.
Oh.
Like
Thank you for returning.
midway through it.
Keep your life to your.
My help is yours.
Okay, Act 2. Have everything here.
No, it is level 8, so it is actually pretty early to do added lightning damage.
Cold. Just add. Oh, that's called a fire. Cold snap. Summon. Oh, right now. Okay, I guess I can't add cold damage, even though it says it should be. Okay. Whatever.
No, wait, yeah, added lightning damage is in Act 1.
Thank you. Okay.
You might have misspelled lightning.
Oh, was it there and I just misspelled it?
Maybe. I see added lightning damage as an option. Remember? Same with added cold damage right next to it.
In Act 1?
Yep.
Aren't I just a silly goose?
Page 2.
Added cold damage.
Lightning damage is directly to the right of that added cold.
Oh. There we go. That happened.
While we live, we are blessed.
I've misspelled lightning before. Like making it being lightning instead of lightning. So forgetting that N does that.
Oh, that's right. Okay, Act 2. 19 damage. Have those. Have those. Okay, so I have those. So I need Herald of Purity.
How can I help?
Greetings.
Greetings.
Oh, she's gonna sell Herald of Purity. Yeah, purity. So Herald's the first part, but I can put purity in. Yeah, it's not there. Interesting. It wants me to get Herald of Purity at Act 2, but it's not here. And haste, and it's not here.
Yeah, we're not even at those points yet. I haven't been able to see haste yet. That's at like level 34.
Okay.
But I do see Herald of Purity and Lily, so.
You do?
Well, I have the one that does everyone.
Oh, because you're. That's right. You do.
Oh yeah, Herald of Purity is from Act 3 from the library guy. You probably will want to do it, pick it up there.
Yep.
When I hover over it, that's where you first get them.
I guess it must have just. Act 2 and 3 must have just spilled together. Huh. It's not bringing out inventory. Okay, game.
They're probably of the correct level. Like you can get them, like use them in Act 2, but you can't buy them in Act 2. That's probably the difference. Interesting idea, having a support gem by itself.
Just so I can level it up when I can't have it in
Yeah,
a single
pretty much
spot.
I do need.
think volley would be better than chance to poison right now. Because volley adds more blades.
Well, it depends. Is most of your damage coming from damage over time?
That's true, so probably poison would be better.
Volley is good for just killing groups faster, but poison is more single.
In fact, that's
damage.
more.
So.
All right, my friend, we got the steps to do. Let me know you're ready. Do them. Huh? Okay. All right, so now we're in Act 3 till first lab is done. What does first lab mean?
Labyrinth.
Oh, labyrinth. I see. Okay. Hideout. I think we're now trying to find the sewers, if I remember right.
Close. Interesting place you went there.
Oh, this is the PvP
The
arena.
arena that no one ever uses.
That's funny.
Or some people probably use it, but never actually engaged with anyone that had.
It's crazy that you can, if like, you could pretty much just speed run, like it's supported.
Yeah, I think they designed that from the start. Was it like so that way if you already knew, you could go through the motions, kind of like how Diablo 2, you can also do it.
Oh, Diablo 2 is built for that kind of thing.
Well, maybe less intentionally, but you know how like you can do the quests without picking them up first, like killing Diablo and stuff in Diablo 2. I think it was probably intentional because it used to be a thing in D2 back when it started Recon.
You know what? I think I have one of those. Trying to remember what's called the we take a common and make it legendary.
I don't know what you're talking about, but sounds interesting.
The tiers or whatever they're called.
Oh wait, actually you will want to go back in there.
Okay.
Don't think I need to be doing that right now.
Is a labyrinth.
Yep. There's a labyrinth in there that I completely whiz right past. Unfortunately, it's when I consistently do that too, so at least I remembered it before the portal disappeared.
See you.
Oh yeah, it's all the way down here.
Oh yeah,
See the book.
The book, yep.
We could turn on your Herald of Agony if
Allow
you
your wisdom to be
still use
tempered
it.
by the flames of the past.
That gives me health regen, right? Like health steal.
No, that is when you do poison damage, it summons a scorpion thing that attacks things based on how much poison you have totally done. The DPS. I think that's everything here, pretty much.
M1 is just for movement, really. Like, you don't use basic abilities in this game. Like, basic attacks. My M1 is literally just a move, unhindered.
Tolman's dead then.
Alright,
Move 100.
Frostbite, Elemental Despair, Plague Bearer, Malevolent,
Despair.
I don't think... Your Blood Rage...
If you don't know quite yet, you can just press the X button and it'll save it for later.
Let's do that.
Gravicius demands
Yes, I'm looking at Act 3 and there's nothing in the Act 3 list that's for that.
Oh, Victaria. Good luck to you.
Here it is. The level 35. Alright. Wow. Please.
Unfortunate, but fortunate at the same time. Hold on a second. I have money to make those boots a little bit better, I think.
If you want to, sure.
Let's hope that the crafting recipe is on open prefix.
I will have fun.
Yes, it is.
Elsewhere.
We are level 23,
Don't
so
think
it
I
has
need
to be
be
this
doing
one.
that right
I was accidentally level gated you out of your own boots. Almost. Don't forget to put your gems into it.
Yeah. Okay. Alright.
Interesting option of well.
Doesn't even
remind me.
matter. I don't know
Your
why.
sword doesn't your green slot isn't even linked to it,
Yeah.
but you do have 2 green linked slots available in your gloves.
Yeah, but there's like
Thank
there's really nothing to put on that right now. I have my.
I meant
Venom
what's in
there.
your gloves.
I have.
I meant what is in your sword.
Oh, but yeah, it's just agony and right. They're just there for whenever I can. There's
Okay.
support that's leveling up
Watch
on the
yourself.
side and until they can be used.
Fair enough.
Man, we're just coming at the perfect restarting times. Slums.
Slum. Thankfully, the sewers were very close to it, so it was very easy to find.
I had to get keys to open it, because you know we can break mountains of enemies, but we can't open sewer grates.
Hey, flesh versus metal is different. We can smack people to death, but you can't smack a grate, a metal grate to death. It's not alive to begin with. Almost forgot to actually
we
pick
actually
it up
got-
myself.
Guess we need to gotta find all 3 busts. Found the waypoint.
Oh, that means you're going the right way for both the bus and
Yeah, I found another
where
bust.
we need to go. Yeah, there's one bus on the entrance side of the waypoint, and on the other side is the other 2 bus. So, pattern easier to remember if you miss one. One on the right, one on the left.
Nope, I don't do any. I only do mouse 1. My blade does do damage. Yeah. It literally blade dash mostly is just a mobility. It does enough where I could kill maybe like a bug or 2, like really tiny creatures. Zoom, 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 zoom.
My mana is disappearing before my very eyes now. But I go so fast.
Devouring totem.
But so does my mana. Do need to one of these for you. Sorry, I had to take literally like 2 seconds straight of clicking my gems to level them up. They all leveled up at once.
Oh.
Next waypoint, I think we should go to your King's March so that we can start on it.
Okay.
So you can get the black market, or... Oh hey, here's the waypoint.
I don't think I need to be doing that right now.
The Beatles poet could I stay out of the shadows, they bite.
Okay.
Tala.
Mate. Stay out of the shadows, they bite.
Can I fast travel the King's March, or do I need to?
I think you need to talk to the person in town first.
We've much to discuss.
And then you can get the waypoint for it, so.
Yeah.
Hail!
I
Yes!
think it's once you hit
I'm glad you
level
feel
2 or maybe 3.
Farewell.
Welcome to King's. Always a pleasure.
The
Next, you should
net.
return soon. Oh, Johan! Be safe out there.
All right, so I gotta do is still offers.
Yes.
There's a black market right there.
Eager to sign up.
So I just
Yep.
need five ore.
Yeah, we did claim it, so you need to pick up a miner then.
Be safe out there. Yes. Yes. Who would you like to
They did
hire?
streamline it a bit, like a little bit.
What?
Oh, just buy them.
Great choice.
Probably will want to buy all 3.
Ah.
Yes. Who would you like to hire? I'll handle their induction right away. The last thing. Keep me apprised.
What can I do for you?
Huh? Who's that? Name's Tujin. G'day.
Why, hello.
Just need a moment to catch my breath.
Mining info. And then click the add, and then you can add them to
Oh, there it is.
And then you just add the gold.
Oh wait, do I not have to separate them up into teams anymore?
You didn't have to originally because they'll just work on. Those are just priority systems for mining.
I see. So they'll okay.
They'll do all of them if they can.
Okay.
They'll do what they can, but if they're out of that one, they'll do the other ones. Now you just have to give them money.
For some reason, I don't have the ore.
You need to put it in the treasury.
Ore and
for them
treasury?
to mine. Yeah, you remember you have to give them money. Oh, I'm being called for. I'll be back.
These beginnings. Farewell for now. Hail.
Oh, I have 20. I think I need 30. That's what's happening. Yeah, say see you later.
I don't think I need to be doing that right now.
Oh, hello. It's all about marketing.
Oh, I see. Proud of her.
Sorry, I'm participating in tech support momentarily.
The choice is made.
But yeah, you don't have to actually do that either. You can just easily change them. But yeah. How's your towning going?
I was like, what? What's happening? And so I was like, is it glitch? And I forgot it has to be processed ore. It's not unprocessed ore.
Yeah, that's one of the big things they did was made it so that way you don't have to have the the moment you unlock processed ore, it just is always processed, so that way you don't have to micromanage that part.
Decisions must be.
What have you got for me? Toodles.
This should be unlocked any moment now.
Yeah. You could even gasp. Wait.
Huh? Can I go and just help them process the ore?
Well, they have to mine for a bit, so it might take a while, but that's all you need to do. So, it'll be unlocked by the time we get back to it. So that's
Yeah.
pretty much unlocked at this point.
Done.
Okay, now is the printer working? Yeah, it is. Oh. Wrong device. Oh, no. Okay. I'll be back.
What is it? Be careful.
Be right back, friends.